I will now call the council meeting to order for Thursday, March the 18th at 6 p.m. And at this time, if we'll please stand, Chaplain Harry Comprood will come forward and give us the invocation.
Let us pray. Lord, I pray for the leaders here of Russellville, thanking them for their service to this community. I pray for your guidance and direction in the discussions and the business at hand, that the discussions made here tonight are done in the best interest of the community. Let unity and respect for one another always prevail. I ask for your hand of protection upon the men and women serving in our fire and police departments, and be with each family serving in our militaries around the world. Be with the mayor as he is tasked with providing leadership to this community. I ask each and everything in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please turn and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Okay, at this time, City Clerk is out tonight, and Mr. Palladino is sitting in for this evening, and we appreciate that. Would you do roll call, Ms. Palladino?
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Caruth? Mr. Harris?
Here.
Mr. Tripp?
Here.
Mr. Olson?
Here.
Mr. Harrell?
Here.
Mr. Westcott?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Keller?
Here.
Trey Smith?
Aye.
Okay. Mayor Harris, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Council, you do have in your package the minutes from the February 23rd and February 24th meeting of the council. What is the desire of the council?
I make a motion to approve.
I have
Second.
a motion to approve and a second from
Mr. Keller.
Mr. Keller. Thank you, Mr. Keller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Financial report. Ms. Johnson?
General fund revenues for February were $1,592,596, which was 15% above budget. Tax receipts were $1,017,289. Franchise fees and permits were $374,122. Tax revenue comparison. City and county compared to prior year, city is 5.18% above, and county is 7% above prior year. Actual on city, we received $849,067 year-to-date against a budget of $770,000, which shows that the budget is, the actual is 10% above the budget. County, we received $976,103 compared to a budget of $866,250, which is 12.6% of actual above budget. General fund expenditures for February were $1,126,007, which is 8.3% above budget. $250,023 more received than spent. Street fund revenues for February were $982,994. New sales tax was $740,371. State turnback and ad valorem tax was $159,288. Half-cent road sales tax was $60,642. Interest was $18,842. Street cutting permits were $100, and other was $3,751. Street operating revenue is 6% above year-to-date projections. Street fund expenditures for February operations were $195,547. Street fund capital, we spent $239,444, which was for the street sweeper purchase. Half-cent street sales tax we spent $31,387 for the interstate lighting project. And sales tax improvements only had spending of $393, which was for drainage maintenance. The February revenues for the Economic Development Fund were $61,005, which was new sales tax of $58,143 and interest of $2,862. February expenditures were $4,505 for Arkansas Valley Alliance. The balance of the various economic development funds as of February 28, 2021, the 2003 fund is $1,525,525.75. The 2007 fund was $1,013,044.59. The 2014 fund was $1,240,638.23. February revenues for capital assets was $132,375, which was new sales tax of $116,286, parks $15,487, and interest of $602. February expenditures were $283,604, $116,286 for City Corp. Hickey backstops, we spent $113,411. For RFD, the Scott Air Packs came in $51,899, and there was software purchase of $2,008. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Okay, moving on to the mayor's report. We do have one item here. Before I get to that item, I do want to acknowledge that the participants in Leadership Russellville are in attendance tonight. We do thank you for being here this evening and appreciate your involvement in Leadership Russellville with the Chamber. It's a great program. I went through it several years ago and learned a lot, and so I hope you're enjoying it. I know that the city and the community will benefit for years and years from your involvement in this program, so thank you very much. Also, Danielle, you have a couple of HEU students here that are attending tonight. Welcome. I'm glad that you're here this evening. Okay, with that, I want to, item number 1 is the nomination by the Planning Commission for Paul Gray to serve on the Board of Adjustment. Hopefully you've gotten the bio on Mr. Gray. What's the desire of the council? Have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Departmental report. Unfortunately, Mr. Vernon couldn't be here tonight. His father or his mother had to go to the doctor and he had to take her. So you do have, I think, his report here in front of you. I just want to highlight one item in his report where he stated the number of animals that was received in last year was 822, and as he states, we had several free adoption events with many animals finding forever homes. And I just thought that was pretty cool, finding forever homes. I have a daughter who, if there's ever been a dog lover, it is my daughter. And she would love that forever homes situation because that's the way I have to fight with her all the time. So she'd have every dog in the county at home. Okay, Personnel Committee, Mr. Harold, do you have anything?
No report tonight.
No report. Finance Committee, Mr. Westcott.
Oh, got lots of stuff. Okay, beginning with what we moved forward from the March 9th meeting last Tuesday. Item number 1 is a resolution that expresses the willingness of the city of Russellville to utilize state aid street monies for the East 16th Street overlay. And we present that as a motion to adopt.
Okay, I do have a motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2 is an appropriation request, which is a transfer between departments in the amount of $93,919, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
Thank you for that motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 3 is consideration of a resolution that authorizes the destruction of accounting records for the year 2013, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
Thank you for that motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 4 is an appropriation request. This is an insurance pass-through in the amount of $3,733.65, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
A motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 5 is a negative appropriation request that returns to the general fund $1,418.88, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
Motion, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
From our 5:30 meeting this evening, Finance Committee met, discussed, and recommends the following items. Item number 1, coupled with item number 6. Number 1 is consideration of a resolution to accept a bid for the South Waterloo Avenue roadway improvement project, and number 6 is the appropriation for that in the amount of $108,165.35. That would come from the street fund sales tax, and we present those as a motion to adopt.
Thank you for that motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2 is consideration of a resolution of the City Council of Russellville certifying the local government endorsement of Americold to participate in the tax back program. And we present that as a motion to adopt.
A motion, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 3 is consideration of a resolution that authorizes the mayor and city clerk treasurer to apply for and accept a grant for the Russellville Regional Airport for taxiway improvements and repairs. And we present that as a motion to adopt.
Thank you. I have a motion. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 4 is an appropriation request from the reserves of the Fire Contingency Fund, the sum of $25,000 to be used to outfit the vehicles that we approved last month, and we present that as a motion to adopt.
Thank you for that motion. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 5, and the final thing on our agenda, is consideration of a resolution that outlines the procedures to assess the condition of the M.J. Hickey Pool for potential repairs,
Have a motion. Any discussion?
and we present that as a motion to adopt.
Thank you, Mr. Westcott. Any discussion?
Yes, there is. If you'll look there on that resolution on page 1 of 2, section 3A, little I, or the little 1 in paragraphs, it begins by saying the Finance Committee, Mayor, and Parks and Recreation staff shall do certain things. Number 2 underneath that should also include the Finance Committee, Mayor, and Parks and Recreation staff. Strictly an oversight. And so item number 2 needs to be amended.
Yeah, it should have that on there.
I understand you have a motion to include the Finance Committee in the ranking of the RFQs and also in the negotiations on item number 2. Okay? Do I have a second? A second? Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, on the changes that were made to the resolution, I'm not sure I've been able to digest it all, but in looking at it, it seems that there's some attempts to control here at on the council, instead of allowing the Parks and Rec and the mayor's office assess the situation. I thought we already knew what needed to be fixed, and that was the initial contract that was offered that we dealt with, that was going to restore the pool to new condition. And now then we've kind of changed the method here that we want to assess it again. I thought we'd already had that assessment between the Parks and Rec Committee and the Parks and Rec Department, that they understood exactly what needed to be done to restore it to new condition. And now we're backtracking again, and I don't see this as a need at this time.
Seems like there's some big oversight of the Parks and Rec department here. They've spent a lot of time and effort on this, and since this body, or some people in this body, have decided that they want it their way, and that's the way it's going to be, I feel like this is one of those things that's just, they think they know better. So, as being the liaison for the Parks and Rec and seeing it happen, I'm against it.
Mayor, back in January at our council meeting, the council approved certain things to be done at the Hickey Pool, one of which was to make the necessary repairs. The second part of that was to do exactly what this resolution stipulates. What we did not do in January was to delineate the certain things that we wanted the second portion of that motion to do. We did not put that in resolution form in January. All this is a resolution form of exactly what the council as a whole approved to do at the January meeting.
I think that the Parks and Rec had investigated the needs. The motion that was made dictated what was to be done, and now then we're changing that, and I just think this is wasted effort. And to also include Finance Committee and/or the City Council to approve any of these potential repairs and going forward, I think is kind of overstepping what the Parks and Rec and the Mayor's office is designed to help us bring those settled information, settled contracts, settled needs for Hickey Pool or any other project to us for approval, not to be looked through on a magnifying glass by us as a council. I think we're micromanaging this whole project through this resolution.
It just so happens that that's one of the responsibilities of the Finance Committee, is to do the very thing that this resolution sets out in writing. Before any expenditures are made from the Treasury, it does go through the Finance Committee. Whether I'm comfortable with that or agree with that, that is our rules of procedure. This resolution asks nothing of this council other than what is normal procedure. There was some confusion at the last council meeting as to exactly what January's motion required. All this does is put it into writing exactly what was intended at the January meeting when that motion was brought up, discussed, seconded, approved.
Mayor, I would say that I'm not going to disagree with the Finance Committee being involved and put down in a resolution. What I disagree with about this resolution is that it calls for analysis after we've already had people come in here and look at the pool and make a bid on it and tell us what was wrong with it. And then we come back and we want to spend more money making an analysis in addition to going out and doing that. And we've already spent that effort, already made that effort. And I just wanted to voice that so that I'm not in a disagreement about Mr. Westcott and the Finance Committee. I'm just in disagreement on this section 3 where we do a complete analysis. Thank you.
Well, again, it's not that we're asking for a new motion. All this does is set into writing exactly what was approved back in January. We're not asking for a second motion to analyze. We've already decided that as a body to hire a firm to analyze what the needs are at Hickey Pool and to come back with a detailed analysis, bid specs ready, so that whoever we hire will know exactly what needs to be done. We've already decided to do that. All this does is put it into writing more clearly because there was some confusion at the last meeting.
I'd have to say, I don't think there was any confusion. I think Parks and Rec had already determined what needed to be done. And that's why they had a bid to try to get it done before opening. And there was an oversight that the local vendors weren't included in that process. But I think it's pretty clear that the company that submitted a bid or proposal knew what was needing to be done, and the Parks and Rec Committee had worked with them and were in agreement with that. So why would you do again what's already been done?
By not approving this, it does not negate what was decided in January. It doesn't do away with the requirement to do exactly what this body agreed to do in January. We can approve this or not, but it doesn't do away with the requirement of what we approved in January.
In my opinion, it does, because in addition to getting the bid and the people coming here, you're wanting to hire an outside firm to come in and do what we've already had done. You're asking for another analysis that we gotta pay for.
Any other discussion?
I think something that's being missed in this is the fact that, I mean, it was mentioned that, you know, there's some oversight, you know, by the finance committee. There's some oversight in this major project by the city council. And I can't agree with Mr. Westcott more that that is our main function, is to provide oversight. And just to use an analogy, if Kenneth came to us and Glenn came to us and said, we're going to fix a pothole, we'd say, let's go fix that pothole. But if Kenneth and Glenn came to us and said, we're going to completely and totally change the way that the streets lay in Russellville, we would have some oversight in that major project. And this is something that we need to stop looking at Hickey Pool as something as that's just the pool, and we're just going to put some stuff into it, and then we're going to go on, and we're going to forget it, and it's going to be fine. What we're doing now is making sure that the pool is going to be something that is a viable feature in the community for decades to come. And when you're talking about a project that's going to echo over decades, oversight is our entire job.
So let me just clarify this point, and if the council decides the finance committee to be a part of this and they want to go back and review, that's certainly their prerogative. We do projects all the time through the RFQ process and selecting RFQs, taking RFQs from professional services all the time without council involvement and oversight. So to say that this is required by rules and procedure, I think is a misrepresentation of the information in the rules and procedure, because we do this all the time within the Public Works Department by going out for RFQs, and then we use our staff to make recommendations on who we should use in doing these things. Just want to clarify that point, but it is up to the council to decide if they want to provide input into that process.
Do we even have a roundabout number, what it's gonna cost for a firm to come in here and giving us a quote to fix it?
No, I do not. I do know that one of the firms that we've looked at to assess the condition of the piping through pressurization testing is about $2,700, and that's going to have to be done regardless of the process that we use. As far as pulling together the remainder of it, we've gotten some quotes from some of the vendors on what they thought it would cost and what needed to be done. But it would cost us some additional funding to have a firm to come in and tell us that. But I don't know what that would be, Mr. Harris.
At the end of the day, anybody and everybody that's walked up to that pool has said, it's old, it's done its time, it's lasted longer than anybody expected. At some point, you're just putting a bunch of money into something that's just not gonna last. You know, Justin's talking about decades and decades. Anything we do to this pool is not gonna be decades, just FYI. It's not gonna last that long. It's just not going to. It's not built strong enough. It's just not going to. So you're looking at, 5 to 7 years probably, what you're gonna get out of it. And I don't see, at some point, you just gotta call a spade and say, we need to build a new outdoor space. And it's a waste of money to put $5 more into the pool. Just my opinion.
Any other discussion?
Mayor, did you not tell us at a previous meeting that this was going to be repaired for umpteen years to come?
That was my understanding, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm sorry, the notion that this is something that's just going to be 5 to 7 years, and then we've got to just fill the hole with dirt and walk away from it and do something different. I'm sorry, but I believe that that is a statement of personal preference, not a statement of what it is that we're trying to do here, and not a statement of what the reality of Hickey Pool is. If we actually take the time and put in the resources and effort into making Hickey Pool something that is going to continue to be a major facility and a major feature available to our community for decades to come. If you decide that you only want to take measures that are going to keep the pool open for 5 to 7 years and then move on to something else, that is your prerogative. But that's not a statement of fact. That's an opinion.
As a liaison to the Parks and Rec Department that's been through this every step of the way for the past year and talked to many vendors and all people going out and looking at it, and on top of that, being my career the past 18 years in construction, I can tell you that you're right, it's not a fact, it's definitely my personal opinion, but there's a little bit of facts there in it.
Any other discussion?
Mayor, one of the things that I objected to through this entire process is the fact that we had one bid.
Can you, Ms.
I just
Cruz,
don't-
can you, you have to hold the button now. Yes, ma'am, go for it, I'm
It's just
sorry.
the fact that we had one bid. I don't, and we don't know how it's going to last. I will agree with you on that. But one bid just didn't do it for me.
Right.
As far as voting.
And we have learned our lesson on that, Ms. Cruz, so
Yeah.
sometimes you learn lessons the hard way.
But since that time too, we also went back even to a local vendor and asked if they could bid on it. And
We will certainly give everyone an opportunity to bid on it, yes. Well, we haven't gotten any bids at this point.
Mayor, if I may, Mr. Olson did touch on a good point here, and which, I would, if, preference goes, my preference would be for us to take a good, hard look at this, and I agree, we need to rebuild Hickey Pool in that same vicinity and at a totally new facility for the community. But that's my preference, but I'm okay doing this.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, I said, what's the motion on the floor? What was your motion, Mr. Westcott?
Well, my motion is for that slightly amended resolution where number 3A2 also included what was in the beginning of
So your motion
Section
is not,
3A1.
is not to adopt the resolution, it's simply to make the change to the resolution as
correct.
presented.
My motion right now is to amend this resolution.
Okay. All right, so I have a motion from Mr. Westcott. Did I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Keller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Will you do roll call, please?
And that was strictly to amend this resolution,
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
That's right.
How about a roll call on that vote?
We're going to do a roll call. Ms. Caruth?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
No.
Mr. Tripp? Mr. Olson? Mr. Harrell?
No.
Mr. Westcott?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
This is,
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
motion was the vote was 4-4, so the motion fails.
Okay, then my motion is to approve this resolution as written.
Second.
All right, I have a motion, a second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Roll call, please.
Madness.
Ms. Caruth?
Yes.
Mr. Harris? No. Mr. Tripp? Yes. Mr. Olson? No. Mr. Harrell?
No.
Mr. Westcott?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
The vote was 4 yeses and 4 noes, the motion fails.
Mayor, that's the last of our finance portion, and I yield the floor back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Westcott. Okay,
Mayor, I'm sorry, just for clarification, even though this resolution fails, we are still operating under what was passed in January.
That's correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
moving on, unfinished old business. Consideration of an ordinance vacating and abandoning the right-of-way between Lot 1, Block 88, and Lot 6, Block 99 of the J.L. Shin addition. This is relating to right-of-way abandonment, second of 3 readings. What's the desire of the council?
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read the second of 3 readings by title with a short explanation.
Okay, I do have a motion to suspend the rules, dispense with reading requirements, read the second of 3 readings, title only with short explanation. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Keller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
An ordinance vacating and abandoning the right-of-way between Lot 1, Block 88, and Lot 6, Block 89, JL Shin Edition, City of Russellville, Public County, Arkansas, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would vacate the alley located in the aforementioned block subdivision and would, if passed, would let it revert to the adjacent property owners.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Item number 2, consideration of an ordinance approving the private club permit for Nona Bella's Pizzeria and allowing for the application of the required permits from the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division. This is the second of 3 readings. What is the desire of the council?
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read the second and final time by title with short explanation.
I have a motion to suspend the rules, dispense with reading requirements, read the second and final time.
Second.
By title only, a short explanation, and a second by Mr. Keller. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Mr. Smith.
An ordinance approving the private club permit for Nona Bella's Pizzeria Club Incorporated and allowing for the application of the required permits from the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division per our Arkansas Code annotated, Section 3-9-222 as amended. And for other purposes, this ordinance passed would give approval for Nona Bella's Pizzeria Club Incorporated to apply with the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Control Division as required for ACA Section 3-9-222.
Motion to adopt.
Thank you. I have a motion to adopt. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I would say, this company is requesting that. I'm sure a great company, I have no issue with that. But I would like for the council at some point in time to consider how many establishments are appropriate for Russellville, being that we are a dry county, that if the majority of people are opposed to alcohol being offered and those that are for it, where's the balance? Is it something that everybody that wants one, it's okay? Or do we say this is how many is enough? And I would propose that for a future discussion.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Harrell. Any other discussion?
For whatever it's worth, I think there's, 22 now, private club permits in the city of Russellville? So if there were a line, perhaps we've crossed it 20 petitions ago.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Mayor, I
Oh,
move.
I'm sorry, this is an ordinance. I'll go ahead and
Yes.
have a roll call on this, just to make sure from a legal perspective we got it covered.
Ms. Caruth?
Yes.
Mr. Harris? Yes. Mr. Tripp? Yes. Mr. Olson? Mr. Harrell?
No.
Mr. Westcott?
Yes.
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Keller?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Mayor, I move to enact the emergency clause, the emergency being that the city finds that the approval of this ordinance is in the best interest of the city and the residents of the city of Russellville and for the financial well-being of the petitioner and the city.
Do you have an emergency clause? Yes.
be there, it's separate.
Yes, okay. Okay, I do have a motion for the enacting emergency clause, which is section number 5 of the ordinance. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Ruth. Discussion?
Yes. One reason for moving to approve that emergency clause is 3 items down this agenda, we're going to be asked to approve something on one reading and to enact the emergency clause for that as well. The emergency being identical to the emergency that I just expressed for this one. And should we not choose to approve the emergency clause on item number 2, then we rightfully should not even consider the emergency clause on number 3.
Any other
Mr. Smith, could you clarify what emergency clause, what's the rules for that?
The rules are that you have to define a specific reason for why it should be enacted, that tonight, as opposed to something general. You can't say just the health, safety, and welfare. There has to be something as though there is a need for either the community that's specific, or there's a need for the petitioner, or there is a benefit that can incur to the city or to the petitioner, but it can't be a general health, safety, welfare. It has to be something more. But what it specifically, what it is not specific, is not defined in case law because it's very scarce. And so it just has to be something more than just a general health, safety, and welfare, something specific that can be shown, which is what I've tried to do for this emergency clause.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion does carry for the emergency clause. Right, new business. This first item is consideration of a resolution to set a public hearing for the vacation of a portion of right-of-way between lots 4 and 6 and lots 7 and 9 of the Madison White Edition. What's the desire of the council?
Motion to set a public hearing?
I do have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Brown?
Mr. Brown.
Thank you. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 2, consideration of a resolution granting a license in land to Realty Income Properties for the use of the city's right-of-way on 915 East Main Street to the terms and agreements which attach with this resolution. This is over behind the Arby's building in relation to their trash bin. What's the desire of the council?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion, Mr. Westcott. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Keller. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, consideration of an ordinance rezoning certain realty in the city and for other purposes. This is the property over on East Main. And as my understanding, it will be a warehouse for, coming out, I'm trying to find it here.
Mulch.
Mulch Landscaping. Thank you very much, Ms. John Dahl. What's the desire of the council?
Mayor, I move to suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read one time only, by title with a short explanation.
Okay, I have a motion to suspend the rules, dispense with reading requirements, read one time only with a short explanation.
Second that.
Do I have a second? Mr. Brown? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
In order to rezone certain realty in the city of Russellville, Arkansas, and for the purposes the ordinance if passed would rezone property at 4320 East Main Street from R2 to C2, as shown in the 2 attachments labeled Exhibit A and Exhibit B.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Motion to adopt.
I do have a motion to adopt. Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brown. Discussion. I do have a citizen, Mr. Chisholm, that would like to address the council on this issue. Mr. Chisholm, if you would step up to the mic, state your name, and present to the council.
Roy Chisholm. I purchased the property and I wanted to rezone it from R to C, so I could put in a mulch yard, a landscape yard. And also, we'll probably have seasoned firewood there.
Will you just be storing and selling from this
Yeah.
facility? You will not be fabricating or
No, we have a s-
manufacturing or?
We have a sawmill at Hector. We'll do all the processing there. We'll haul it down to here and all we'll have is storage.
We welcome you to Russellville.
Thank you.
Anything else?
That's all.
Any questions for Mr. Chisholm? It's out East Main. What's the address? 43?
4320.
4320. It's right in front of the trailer park there, operated by Bubba's. Does that tell you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Chisholm? Any other discussion items? Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hearing none, let's see, all in favor, this is to adopt.
Correct.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mayor, that we may more fully support economic development in the city of Russellville, I move that we enact the emergency clause, the emergency being that it is certainly to the financial benefit of both the petitioner and the city of Russellville to get started as quickly as possible before this season.
Okay, I do have a motion for the emergency clause.
Second.
I have a second from who? Mr. Keller, thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Final item on the agenda, consideration of resolution granting a special use permit to operate an internet radio station at 1009 East Parkway. This is submitted by Mr. Hendricks in order to operate a new radio station. Is that correct, Mr. Hendricks? Yes, sir. What's the desire of the council?
Motion to approve.
It's my understanding that this is already ready to go. They've erected a tower and done a whole bunch of things, and this is the first time this has been before the council. Correct?
Yeah,
Don't they have to have a
can we get to
permit
the,
for all of that?
let's get the motion in the second, and then we'll get your question, Ms. Cruz, okay? I have a motion from Mr. Westcott. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Keller. Discussion. Okay, Ms. Cruz, what was your question again?
Well, it's my understanding the tower is already up, everything's ready to go, and now they're asking for permission to have it. I just thought all that had to go a different direction.
Okay, we want to, Mr. John Dahl, would you like to address the question? Did you hear the question by Ms. Cruz? The question was, as she understands there's already a tower there, so why are we considering this special use permit once the tower has already been erected?
Yes, absolutely. So Mr. Hendricks is new to the process of developing this business. He had come in, asked what the process was, and did not realize that permits had to be issued prior to commencing work. We have since gone through the process. He is waiting for approval tonight, and then we'll be getting building permits for his tower. After that, I do realize that it's already there, but it did not seem appropriate to ask him to have that tower removed and then get the approval and then reinstall it. I thought that, in my opinion, we would allow it to just kind of wait there until we get this approval. It was at risk if this approval is not granted, and then we'll have to work on processes to have that removed and go from there. But
So it's not operational at this point, they're not operating?
no, sir, the tower is there, but my understanding is it is not operating at this time.
And there are some conditions that the planning commission put forth also for me.
Yes, sir, there are conditions that the planning commission did attach to the permitting of this to help offset the visual impacts of that tower
Sure.
to adjoining properties.
Sure.
How
Yeah.
tall is the tower?
The tower is 48 feet tall.
And there was no one in the planning commission that came forward objecting to it?
No.
No, there was one, the neighbor, the property owner to the west, sorry, I am challenged on directions, to the west had just requested that there be a fence, and that was one of the conditions that the planning commission did ask to be placed on this. Yes, sir.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.